There is a mystery in this world. There's a lightness and a darkness. And if you don't consciously get a grip on that, it's going to get a grip on you. You know it's there. You know, you hear it in the songs of Leonard Cohen, or at its most frightening, you see it in the movies of David Lynch. What we see all around is where we're going through times of unprecedented crisis. And the interesting thing is we're always going through times of unprecedented crisis. To quote Leonard Cohen, if it's not the crucifixion, then it's World War II. We have to deal with this mystery. We have to deal with the light, and we have to deal with the darkness. In the summer of 2016, I ran my car into the crash barrier. I fell asleep at the wheel, which was really a pity because I had a really nice car. A beautiful yellow Porsche. I swerved away from the crash barrier and I drove on. When I got home, I noticed the damage to the car and I saw that I could easily have just died. I thought, oh yeah, well, whatever, you know, you live, you die, there you go. And why didn't I care for that? And I think the reason for that is I didn't really have any purpose in life. I was just one of those innocents who go through life living it the way everybody lives their lives. You know, there's a job, there's a house, but that's not what makes for an interesting life. That's not what makes for this feeling that you have to live this life other than just, you know, live it because you're alive. And that is because I do not have that connection to the mystery. I don't have that direct experience. And I know it exists. I knew it existed at the time because, you know, I've dabbled with psychedelics, and one of the interesting things that psychedelics do is that they break down that barrier. You always feel between yourself and the world because we experience reality the way we experience it because we're used to experiencing it that way. We see what is out there, and that is our mind interprets reality in relation to of what it already knows. So the reality you experience is the reality you already know because that is what your brain does. But if you could let go of that, then you would see reality the way it is. And maybe you wouldn't see it, but you would experience it the way it is. And I think that throughout the ages, this is something that all mystics know about. Religions have tried to help their believers experience that because that experience is good. But these days, it's plain to see that religion has failed us. Well, that is, the old religions have failed us. Now, I'm not, this video is not about, it's not about criticizing established religions. What do I care? But let's just say they've had their chance and they blew it. And at that moment in time, after I crashed my car and found I didn't really care, even though I could have died, I thought what we need is a new religion. And being the megalomaniac that I am, I figured, well, if no one else is doing it, I'll make one up myself. And so I started thinking about that. I started writing about that. And then I thought I need prayer. Because what is this religious stuff about if it isn't about the experience, about experiencing what in essence is the mystery, and that experience of the mystery is what makes life worthwhile. Now, what we see, what we have been seeing for the past 70 years or so, and certainly for the past 50 years, is that instead of the experience of the mystery, there is a force in society that has tried to turn us away from mysticism and into consumerism. So instead of being mystics, and having these wonderful direct experiences of true reality, we have been turned into consumers. And instead of having these adventures of the body and the mind, we have Netflix and YouTube. And instead of having a sense of purpose and having a sense that this world around us is magical, instead of just being together as people, being together with maybe a small group of friends and lovers, and be intimate together. Now, intimacy, it's not hard to see why, has been, how shall I put this? It has been made suspect. And especially, of course, these days with the whole corona crisis thing, it is literally being said, people getting together, people being close to each other. That's a dangerous thing. And so we're all alienated. And there's this movement, this force by our governments, our very own governments, and all the industrial powers to drive people away from each other, drive them into the arms of consumerism. And more life is becoming meaningless. And so to give life meaning, we need to return to finding ways that help us experience reality as it is in all its fullness. When I was thinking about prayer, I was thinking about meditative flogging. For a good reason. The reason being that this is a practice that you do not do by yourself. You do this with someone else. With someone you love. You can do it with someone you love, or you can do it with a complete stranger. Not, of course, consenting adults and all that stuff. But yeah, and when you do that, because through flogging, the body is engaged, fully engaged, and your mind can no longer keep up its energy to interpret, because the body and the mind are connected. And when the body is engaged in so many ways, in our, with flogging, whipping, there's all that impact going on. There's all these sensations, and the mind simply can't keep up. And so you let go of that interpretive harness, in that you let go of that interpretation machine that actually keeps you from experiencing reality. And through meditative flogging, whipping, you do experience reality, and you experience it together, because the person who is doing the whipping also has to be completely present, and you become one energy body. You become one organism. You become connected to something that is out there and that is in here. You connect through the whip to reality. And so there's a course. I made this course, and I think it's an important course. And I think we need it now. Because, as I said, we're going through times of a great crisis once again, and what we need is a better kind of way of living. That is really what we need. And this better kind of way of living, it starts at the home. It starts with you and me. It starts with you learning a new skill and finding another kind of connection to your partner. Learning this skill of meditative flogging, of umda, learning it and practicing it and establishing, conjuring up love with your partner. In the link below, you'll find a link to the web page where there's more about the actual course. And you can sign up there and enroll. And we're going to establish this community of lovers and friends. That is really what I want. What I want for you. What I want for all of us. I think it's important that we stop being, mere consumers, and instead we become these conscious human beings connected to the mystery and connected to each other. So sign up for the course. Do it today. It's not just a skill. You learn it and practice it all by yourself. With the course will come a series of Q&As. So, we can get together and talk live. I'll be there. I'll be there to talk with you. And so we can talk about, how we experience life, how we experience our whipping practice, share the stories, because I see in my own practice, I practice with a lot of strangers. And I see these beautiful things happen. Because where are you now? And where are you going to go? We move from cradle to grave. Wouldn't it be really great to, instead of being where we are now, go to somewhere where it's good? Well, you know the answer to that. Click the link, enroll in the course. I'll see you inside.